No, I mean, I have to say that this has been one of the most rewarding jobs that I've ever had. Like, I love this job. I mean, there's some days that I am on the verge of tears from how exhausted I am, but I do love this job. I feel like it's mine. Like every other job I've had, I've worked for somebody else, and so this job is a little bit more freedom, and you're kind of in charge of yourself, and you can make as much money or as little money as you want. It just depends on how much work you want to put into it, and I like that because I can hold myself accountable and and decide how much I want to do. And if I do more work, I get paid more. So I love this job, and I love meeting all the people. And I'm a talker, if you can't tell. So
Welcome to the Shane Wilson Real Estate Show, the show that covers all things and everything real estate related. I'm your host, Shane Wilson, and let's get this show started now. Hi, this is Shane Wilson with Shane Wilson Real Estate, and this is my podcast. This is the only sponsorship message you're going to get because it's me. I run Shane Wilson Real Estate, which is a commercial brokerage and property management firm in Northwest Georgia and Southeast Tennessee. So if you have a commercial property you're looking to put up for sale, I am one of the most innovative marketers and on the leading edge of getting commercial property marketed in front of buyers and getting it sold. If you have a commercial property or you're looking for property management, please contact me, Shane Wilson with Shane Wilson Real Estate, toll free 1-855 999 3211, or go to ShaneWilsonRealEstate.com. Thank you and enjoy the rest of the show. This is Shane Wilson with the Shane Wilson Real Estate Podcast. And this is my very first episode ever. And for this very special episode, I did not go and hire some big shot to interview. I interviewed an everyday beginning new agent. And not only that, she began her real estate career in 2020. So can you imagine putting your money into education, laying out your plans? It's November, December 2019. You have a plan for next year. You're going into a brand new real estate career. You get started in 2020, and then pandemic hits. When the pandemic hit, what did she do and how did she overcome? Because through her first year, it's not even been a full year yet, Holly has generated 8 closed sales. So we're going to discuss a little bit of what she did, how she generated those sales, some of the challenges of being a new agent, challenges of going through this pandemic, and how she was able to be successful. Stay tuned, and let's get started with episode 1 of the Shane Wilson Real Estate Podcast. This is Shane Wilson, and then on today's show, we have Holly Gordon with us. Congratulations, you are my very first guest on the Shane Wilson Real Estate Podcast.
It's an honor.
So let's just get started with a little background about yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are, and how you're involved in real estate.
So I am a North Georgia native, lived there for 33 years, and suddenly decided to plant my roots in North Carolina. I'm a mom of 5. I did 10 years of marketing with Mohawk Industry and decided I was ready for a change. And I've always loved real estate. Every time one of my friends were wanting to buy a house, I was the first one that was helping them find places and things, and just decided to get paid for it. So I got my license.
Nice. Now, when I actually first met you, you hired Andrea, and I was one of her partners to help sell your house.
Yep.
So tell me about what was your experience as far as buying a house. How does that help your clients, today? Like, what did you learn from your home buying experience that, you convey to potential buyers?
I think that I learned mostly that the most important thing is communication. Whether you're working with your buyer or your seller, constant contact to keep them updated on any kind of information regarding their house, any kind of questions, any kind of feedback, is to constantly keep them informed on the process. Sometimes there are snags that come up, and I think everybody needs to be aware that that's totally normal. Like there are no two deals that are the same. Everything is different, and that's kind of how I try to help.
Yeah, I would even say that snags come up most of the time. Like there's always something. I think people don't realize that in the transactions that we're involved in, there's literally like 80 steps from, under contract to closing. And that's what you're there for, is to help guide people through that entire process.
Yes, the only abnormal deal is a normal deal. There's
Right.
nothing normal about them.
And even then, it's like going to close and we're holding our breath, like what's going to happen here?
Yes, it is not over until the title has been recorded.
So what year did you start?
I actually just started, I got my license in December of 2019 and joined Remax 2 or 3 weeks later.
Okay, so you're coming up on 1 year, basically.
I am. I started the year of the pandemic.
That's a great time to start.
It was wonderful.
Perfect timing. Okay, so how many transactions have you been able to close out?
I have had 8 transactions currently. I will say that my 8 transactions didn't hit till August. That's when, so it's been, well, 7 of my transactions have happened since August. So 2 months, 3 months.
That's actually really good.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, I tell any new agent it's a 6-month ramp up time. Like
It is.
You're working 6 months because you guys spend the first 3 months just getting the marketing going, and then you get listings or you get buyers, but then you get something under contract. It can take another 2 or 3 months just to get a closing in place. And particularly with the pandemic, everything's just been thrown in flux and taken a lot longer, especially earlier in the year.
Yeah, well, in North Carolina, it was, I mean, I don't know how the rules were in Georgia, but we weren't allowed to physically show homes for like 2.5 months. So
Wow.
we couldn't even go take pictures of listings. We had to rely on sellers to take cell phone photos and send them to us. So March through July was July is when it started picking back up, and I didn't regret all the money I put into real estate.
So that's really interesting. You couldn't even go and get photos or get a photographer to take photos. You just had to rely on the homeowner who's probably using their camera just to send you some photos.
And to be honest, this summer there just weren't many people doing anything because we had buyers, but nobody wanted to sell because they didn't know what the market was going to do, and it ended up being wonderful, and everything's worked out great. So,
is there a huge shortage of listings over in your market? Because that's been a primary problem everywhere. Yeah.
Yes, we have. It's as soon as something that hits a good medium price point that is move-in ready hits the market, within a week it's off. It's crazy.
Yep.
Multiple offers on the table within 48 hours to a lot of listings.
Now, how are you handling multiple offers, say, for example, for the buyer side or the seller side? Like, what do you recommend?
Normally lived in that area for most of their life. That's how I grew up. It was kind of weird to move up here where every time I went to the store, I knew somebody. And then I move up here and I don't know anybody up here. So it was a bit of a transition for me, and nobody up here knows anybody like that. Only about 20% of the population here are natives.
So what steps did you take to get to know people in your marketplace and to get a foothold in the real estate world there?
So I talk to everybody I encounter. My sphere of influence isn't very large because, I don't know anybody up here. So we have dentist appointments and doctor's appointments and the school, and we have a lot of small businesses and stuff that I always talk to the owners of them and kind of feel for it. But mostly my big strong suit has been out of state buyers. So I invested in Zillow.
No, Zillow is a great. Question for you: how's it been handling the real estate schedule? Because we don't really work a 9 to 5 schedule most of the time.
We don't have a schedule.
Pretty much, it's like we're on call.
I'm residential, and I am mostly a buyer's agent. I've had a few listings, but I am mostly a buyer's agent, and I like buyers because buyers it's a little more gratifying when you find their dream home and they get the house. But buyers they're a lot more work. but I
Yeah.
like it, you know? So I, my family has come to, we've kind of had a meeting about it all. We've talked about it, and they accept the fact that some days I'm home and I'm hanging out and we're sitting on the back porch, and and then there's some days that I leave in the morning and I'll see them around 9 o'clock at night. So my balance is more of a, because it is an on-call schedule. It is as soon as somebody needs something. I mean, and even in the afternoons, if my phone rings, I'm going to answer it. I try not to interrupt dinner, but I'm a
Right.
little hands-on. So I probably need to release the reins a little bit, but I'm still a new agent, so I'm
But
not jaded to it all yet.
that's what makes you a good agent, though, is that you are hands on.
I've sent offers at 11 p.m. at night on a highest and best situation. So
Right. So this is your first year. What's
yep.
been your most memorable deal this year? Good, bad, whichever.
My first one. That was the best one. It was my first clients. I traipsed through acres and acres of land trying to find. They were from Florida. And they
Yeah.
wanted to move their ponies and family and create like a family homestead up here. And they were the sweetest family. And honestly, I mean, I still check in with them, and we're friends on Facebook, and I get to watch their remodel of their new home. And that's my most memorable, and I'll remember them forever because they were great.
Nice. I actually earlier in the year sold a piece of land, and the buyers raised miniature horses
Oh no,
for competitions and stuff.
real?
And
That's a thing?
yeah, it's
Competition
actually
miniature
a
horses?
thing. Competition, because she was showing
Oh,
pictures, and most miniature horses. I have this image of just sort of a fat little miniature horse, but these
yeah.
horses are like real lean and stuff. So
Oh,
yeah, it
okay. I
was
changed my
very
mind.
very fascinating.
I'm quitting real estate. I'm going to miniature horse breeding
2021,
competition.
Holly does miniature horse breeding.
Yes. That's great. My people have a pet possum, so that was interesting.
Nice. I have a pet possum that comes up on my Ring camera in the backyard. They'll
Oh,
just come up on the deck and trigger the Ring camera.
we have bears, bears.
Bears.
Yeah, yeah. They're a little
Did they get into
terrifying.
your trash?
Yes, yes. It is. It is kind of frustrating, but they're pretty.
Do you have a pet bear yet?
No, no, they still kind of scare me. Like I was sitting on my porch the other night and I heard one like right behind me. Like I could hear him grunting and stuff. And I was just like, let's get back inside quick.
What made you choose Remax in your current broker?
So I interviewed with a few firms, or interviewed them, I should say, because when you become an agent or broker or whatever, you're interviewing them just as much as they're interviewing you, if not more, because you do want to pick the right home. Um, and so I ultimately picked Remax because I had a wonderful, it was multiple reasons. So my broker in charge is wonderful. He was very honest, very upfront. I didn't feel like he was a salesman. He is, but he didn't feel like
He's
a
very
salesman.
authentic.
Very authentic, yes. And I interviewed with multiple people, and I felt like he was the most real with me about the business. He didn't try to tell me that I was going to make 1 million in my first year. Like it was a
Right.
real conversation. And then also, I liked Remax, their caps and their splits, and that they're pretty easy to obtain. Like I've already capped out, so it was,
Nice.
it was nice.
What's the well, what's the biggest lesson you think you've learned this year as far as first year in this business? Like, what are you going to take in the next year to grow your business even more?
Well, we did already kind of touch on this, but I think my first few deals and things being wrong or going wrong or threatening to go wrong, as a new agent, they just like petrified me. And then I started talking to another fellow agent who was in the same class, and now we're at the same firm. And we just decided that that's when we decided that there's no normal, easy, smooth deals. Like it's very rare. Like there's always
Never.
bumps in the road.
Yep.
And to not sweat it, and everything will work out and it'll be fine. So that's what I'm taking into me next year, is to not worry so much about the things that I have no control over.
Do you work in a team structure?
Not yet. So my firm is kind of a new firm. It's a baby firm. So it's been around a little bit, but there's been a change of hands and a change of agents. And a lot of the agents in our firm are new. We have a few seasoned ones, but most everybody is new. So we're all kind of like trying to get a feel for ourselves and our work structure. But that is actually one of my 2021 goals is to start a team because we don't have any teams at my firm yet. And I feel like that'll kind of help us all balance each other out.
Right. Yeah, the pros and cons of teams, I feel, because I've ran a team. The pro is you have more mobility. So, you need someone to help you with something, they're available, they can do it. The con is you don't make as much money. I know there's an agent in the RE/MAX office in Dalton. He does all his own deals, and he made much more money than I did, but he was constantly doing every single thing himself and working his entire life, basically. So it comes down to a balance in managing people, I think. For me, the team thing worked out really well, but that was just me and how it worked out for me. As long as everybody knows their roles and everything's well defined, I think it's a pretty good system.
I think everybody needs a role. Like you need somebody that's like listing focused and somebody that's buyer focused, even somebody that's just like marketing focused that does your follow-ups. And, because it's hard when you're in your car for 8 hours a day looking at homes or land. And then to also remember that you have to like reach out to other people and follow up. And it's something I struggle with. So I need an admin first or a licensed admin. That's what I'm looking for to start my team.
So what would you have your admin do, or what's your plans for your admin?
Mostly marketing stuff, the email engagement, texting to see if people need anything, occasionally opening doors when I'm busy with somebody else because, like I said, I live in a destination city, so not many of my clients live here or come to town often. So when they do come to town at the same time, like I'm in like this scheduling crunch because we try to pack as many things in at once. But when I have like multiple people from out of state come in at the same time, it complicates life just a little bit. So a licensed assistant that could open doors would be wonderful. And
yes,
a portion of the commission at closing.
What's the price point of houses up there?
Our median range, I want to say in the high 200s.
Okay.
It's ridiculous. I will tell you that as moving from North Georgia to up here, I was sticker shocked at the homes. I won't say that it's ridiculous. It's just the cost of living up here is more and the cost of everything up here is more, but the jobs pay more up here too. So it kind of balances out. But it is astounding sometimes, or it used to be. Like I'm used to it now, and it's a little destination city, so the prices are higher. We're not quite at San Diego prices, but it is.
I was just curious because, being from Dalton or Northwest Georgia area where I'm at, but if you just go over to LJ and Blue Ridge, so the top RE/MAX firm in Georgia runs, that Blue Ridge, LJ, down towards Atlanta strip. Mm-hmm. And because a lot of people from Atlanta have vacation homes up there, right. So the price points are a little bit higher. Because I remember I asked when the RE/MAX reps came to our office, I said, what are they doing specifically, to be top producers? And she basically just said it's just where they're located at. So being located at a place with a good price point is good.
It is, it is good for an agent. I mean, like I said, and when you're a dual agent, it's even better. I enjoy that job mostly, but it's the homes here. Just your average 1,100 square foot, smaller 3-bedroom home. It's probably more like 200.
Yeah.
If it's move-in ready, most of them aren't. It's hard. Anything under 200 is really hard here, and which is it makes me it's really hard because I have a lot of buyers that are in the under 200 price point, but they want to like move in, you know, and under 200 here, there are some move-in ready ones, but most of them are investor properties. They need some.
Right. Yep. I'm a HUD listing broker, and every time I list a HUD house, the price point's low, but because the house needs work. And then there's very few lenders who understand renovation loans very well to do them appropriately. But
yeah, we just a lot of our sellers up here don't want to participate in renovation loans. So if it needs work and a conventional loan will not approve the home, then it's a cash only deal, and the sellers, that's their choice. So. But it's a hard market. I mean, there are some areas, if you go further out away from the actual town of Hendersonville, that you can get in that price point, but in one county over and you can get in that price point, but it's just hard to get there here.
And a good thing too with that is, particularly in your market, I imagine, where there's so few listings, just knowing what's on the for sale by owner market's helpful for your buyers too.
I will say there's not many of those either.
Yeah.
I looked at, or maybe it might be the price point, but I want to say there's like less than 10.
Yeah.
It's not, there's nobody selling. Nobody's selling. It is, it's a good time for sellers. I work with a lot of estates. Like you know, that's how.
No, that's the only thing I can figure out, because right now we have such a shortage and builders haven't built enough houses. So logically, we
do have some new development going on here.
Yeah, we've got a little bit too, but
there are some newer neighborhoods going up. I mean, our town, I mean, it was mostly developed in the 60s, so most of the homes and subdivisions are from the 60s here. So we have some new cookie cutter homes going up now too, which is nice. But builders are having a hard time getting supplies, so they're taking
material costs went up too. So, Yep.
Yeah. It's a new world.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where everything goes. I don't think, as far as supply goes, I don't think builders are building fast enough. There's sellers. I mean, there's just not enough inventory. I don't think that's going to change for a few years. So that's why I think even if the economy goes down, I don't think real estate's going to really follow suit because there's so few houses out there. So
it's not the same. And you know, I think the biggest threat is for the people that did the deferred payments.
Yeah.
That's the one, because I think a lot of people, when they agreed to that, they didn't realize that after 3 or 4 months, your entire balance was due of what you deferred. And I think that's where the biggest problem's going to come through. But I feel like that probably would have started popping up already by now, because it's been a few months, you know, like the deferred payments should be coming home now.
Yeah.
But I don't know that that's going to be a problem. I mean, yeah, there's just not much inventory. There's nothing for sale. I mean, there are things for sale, but it's just there's not as much as there are people wanting to buy right now.
Right. And if it's on the market and it's staying on the market, there's a reason it's still on the market. It's priced too high, or there's something wrong with the house location, or what is.
It's a nightmare. I mean, we have, like I said, we have older homes. Like, there's not very many newer 90s or newer, you know.
Open concept homes were not so open in the 60s.
Do I?
Open concept homes. You know, everybody wants to open concept, the living room, the kitchen, everything.
Yeah.
The 60s, you have your den, you have your living room, you have your kitchen. If
you have a dining room, your dining room is separate from your kitchen. It's not. Yeah. Mm-mm. I mean, they're little. I mean, the living rooms are normally huge compared to some of the newer spec homes that put zero thought into it. But you trade that off for no closet space.
Yes, that is the other closet space.
There's no closets. I don't know what happened back then, and nobody has closet in the 60s. But we've had, you know, like I've encountered. I just looked at a little 1920s farmhouse that they like totally refabbed, and it is the cutest house on the planet. It still has like the tall ceilings, and it, you know, like they did a great job of modernizing it as much as possible, but it's still not open concept. It's still dining room. You have to walk through the dining room to get to the living room. Like, it's, you know, sectioned off house. It's like a circle. You can walk all the way around it. No hallways.
Do you guys have tiny homes up there?
We do. We have a couple of tiny home parks. So they've not been very well accepted with the zoning.
Yes. Now I know down here, you call every county and they're like, no, minimum square footage is this.
I mean, you can put them on unrestricted land out here. But the problem with unrestricted land is it's unrestricted land. There's never been any sort of water, power, road, anything like that normally to it. So we do have some limitations with that. We have tiny home parks. Like, it's the weirdest thing, but they're so cute. Like, I love tiny homes. I love them more than some other properties. I think they're adorable, and I don't understand why they would be a problem personally. Right. I think they're great. But yeah, they're a thing up here too. I mean, we're close to Asheville. Like, it's that's the kind of like neat little thing that Asheville people are like would be really into.
Is the fall colors coming out over there?
Oh yeah, it's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. We're if you go a little higher in the elevation, because Hendersonville's a little lower, so if you go a little higher up on the mountains, their peak season was about 2 weeks ago. And so ours is just now hitting. So the fall colors are, which also means the traffic's picking up because we have leaf chasers that come up here to check out the fall colors on the Blue Ridge Parkway. So it's gorgeous right now. Not today.
Right.
Today's not that pretty, but it is gorgeous. And I will say that the greenery up here surprised me because I thought I lived in a rural area with greenery and stuff like that. But our mountains don't really change colors that much down there. Like, it's a lot of pine. Yeah. And it's up here. It was shocking the first time I saw it. I was just like, wow, it's gorgeous. Never paid attention to leaves on trees before. But yeah, it is pretty good. I mean, I'm glad I come down to Georgia. Like, I haven't been since like June. Yeah. I was coming at least once a month after I moved up here. I'd come down like 1 week in a month and visit family and stuff. And I haven't been since June because.
So you just need to get them to come up there.
I can get my mom to come up here, but I have a pretty big family, so trying to get everybody to come up is kind of hard. So it's easier for me to go down and just kind of drive around and see everybody, and then come back home.
Gotcha.
But I think I'm gonna probably try to get down like next weekend.
All right, Holly. I really appreciate you being on my show, my very first show. I know we had a few glitches, but we're putting it together, and it's going to be coming out. I appreciate being on here. Do you have any final words you want to tell anybody?
I recommend anybody that's considering being in real estate to do it. It's a great career, and I've really loved every minute of it, even through the stressful days. It's been worth it.
All right, Holly. We appreciate it. Good luck. We'll check in with you next year and see if you double those numbers.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.